Hey guys, Mark here from Search Party Property. So I wanted to get into something a little bit controversial in the real estate industry today, and that is negotiating at building and pest time. So there's 4 things that we can do as buyers if we're not happy with how the building and pest report has come back. So if we're not happy, number 1, we can negotiate the price and try and negotiate further and get a price reduction on the property. Number 2 is that we can actually go back to the vendors and ask them to fix some of those issues that were discovered in the building and pest report, and see if they will be willing to do that before settlement. And number 3 is that we can, obviously, if those issues maybe aren't such a big concern and we can live with it and we're getting quite a good deal as is, we can just proceed with the contract and go ahead and go unconditional on the building and pests. And number 4, of course, if those issues are deal breakers and they're quite major things, and we're getting nowhere with the price reduction or them actually fixing any of those major issues, we can actually just terminate the contract and walk away from the deal and look for the next one. So they're the 4 things that we can do if we're unhappy with the building and pest. And I guess I think there's a lot more power when you're negotiating on a building and pest, whether it's for a reduction or for them to fix something, is if those issues are issues that we're bringing to the attention that we weren't necessarily aware of at the time of the first inspection. So, you know, if we discover that there's maybe some structural issues that we weren't aware of, or there's some maybe termite issues that we weren't aware of, or maybe it's a major leak or something like that, or just things that we didn't know were a problem, or maybe they weren't. We knew that there might be a little bit of an issue there, but to what extent we weren't quite aware, and it's actually become something a lot bigger than what we first thought. So I don't find that there's really much power in going back and trying to negotiate on the little things like a leaking tap, or you know, like or the obvious things for that matter, like maybe it's missing the handrail out the front. And in fact, we just bought a property where it was missing the handrails out the front. We didn't go back on and ask for a price reduction based on those things because it was quite obvious. At the inspection, we knew that there was no handrail, so the building and pest didn't really turn up anything new. And to ask for that again, we've got very little chance of actually getting it, and we just annoy the owner. But if we maybe ask on something different, we've got much more of a chance of getting some sort of price reduction based on those things that we weren't aware of. So there are a couple of things or tips when it comes to negotiating those properties with some issues there as well. And what I find why it's good to keep those negotiations fair and reasonable, and try and work with the vendors and work with the agent and not get them offside, is because often those vendors, especially as a buyer's agent, I buy multiple properties through different agents and through the same agents, and they come back to us with some great deals as well. But if you're a single and you're buying a single person buying properties for yourself and you're out there in the open market, you've got to maintain those relationships, because that same agent may just come back to you if you're fair and reasonable. I mean, you're asking for reasonable sort of things and not just being ridiculous with what you're asking for. They might come back to you and actually maybe present, if it's worthwhile, having the property beside that property that you just bought in time. They might get the listing for that, and it might be advantageous to have both properties where you got a bigger parcel of land, and it's maybe you can do something with that. Or maybe they just come back to you with another great deal that might be off market and at a fantastic price that you can't resist. I mean, it might be a reno, there might be some great opportunity, but you want to keep those relationships strong with those agents, because they're likely to come back to you if they know that you're a buyer and that you're fair and reasonable in what you're asking for as well. You really don't want to piss them off, is what I guess I'm getting at. So look, hopefully that sort of helped clear some things up about negotiating things at building and pest time, and hopefully it's given you some ideas of how you might be able to do it yourself, and giving you some ideas of sort of how we sort of think about it as well. So look guys, hope it's helped. Catch you guys in the next video. See ya.